Hello and welcome to another tutorial brought to you by Akrito. In this tutorial we're going to discuss about how to add textures and then create materials for this already created scene. We're going to use 3D Max 2010 and V-Ray for rendering. Okay, go ahead and open up bedroomstart.max. You'll find a bedroom already modeled in every small detail. We just need to add textures and create materials to it, and afterwards we're going to render it. Okay, I'm going to hit Alt-W on my keyboard to maximize the perspective view. We're going to work on each material one at a time. First, we're going to create the material for the walls. Just click on a wall and hit Alt-Q on your keyboard to enter isolation mode. This way it will be easier to see what's going on. Okay, go ahead and open the material editor. You can do this either by pressing M on your keyboard or just hit this icon here. First, we're going to switch from a standard material to a V-Ray material. Just click on this button called Standard, and from the material map browser select V-Ray material. You can double click on it to load it. Okay, now go ahead and assign this material to the selection. It will say that the name is duplicate, just rename it to wall. Okay, so we have a material called wall. Now, what I want to do, I want to add a texture to it. First of all, I've already gathered a list of textures that we're going to use. You can find plenty of textures on the net, but for this tutorial we've already gathered all the materials required. You can find those materials in the textures folder. As you can see, these are the materials that we're going to use. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to load the concrete stucco on the walls. Now, on the wall material, under diffuse, just click on the little square near diffuse. Now, from here select bitmap. You can double click on it and go to the root folder where you have saved all those files. On the texture folder, select concrete stucco and then hit open. Okay, so now the texture is loaded, but we cannot see it yet on the viewport. To see it on the viewport, just click the Show Standard Map in Viewport on the horizontal bar in the material editor. Okay, so I've clicked it, but if I zoom in, I don't see any result yet. This is because the wall was created from a spline and it doesn't have any UVV information. We're going to add this information. Minimize the material editor for now. Okay, so let's go ahead on the modifier stack. In the modifier list, just select UVV map. Okay. Now we can see some result, but this doesn't work for us. Just switch from planar to box. Okay. Now, as you can see, there's this orange box that surrounds the entire object. The problem is that the texture that we are using has been stretched. So let's fix this problem. Just go a little lower on the UVV mapping modifier, and under alignment hit bitmap fit. Now it will ask to select a bitmap. We're going to select the concrete stucco that we've used previously. And I click open. As you can see, when I click open, the box has been scaled to fit the resolution of the image. Now the problem is that the box that surrounds the model is a little bigger for the model. So what we're going to do, we're going to scale it down. Just click on the plus near UVV mapping in the modifier stack and select gizmo. Okay, now as you can see, the orange has turned yellow. This means that it will allow us to move, scale and rotate the gizmo. Go and hit select, and we're going to select it uniformly down. Okay, I'm going to zoom in to see if this is good enough. Okay, I think it could be a little lower. Maybe something like this. Okay. Okay, so I think we have a pretty much good result. As you can see, there are some irregularities that will make the wall look very good. Okay, so when I'm finished scaling down the UV map, I'm just going to click again on the gizmo to make sure that I've exit the UV mapping sub-selection. Okay, so now, for now, the texture is applied correctly on the walls. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set the material to function as a wall. Let's go ahead and open the material editor again. Okay, so now on the material editor we have the diffuse map called map 0, but we want to modify the material and not the texture. Just from the drop down menu, go ahead and click and select wall. Now we've returned to the material and not the texture. We have the stucco placed under diffuse, but what we want to do is duplicate this and place it under the bump map. Just go under maps rollout, scroll down a little bit, and just hold and drag the map to bump. It will ask what method you want to use, and let's just say copy for now. Okay, now we have some sort of a 3D effect on this. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit and hit F9. Okay, so it looks good for now. It will look even better when when it has things to reflect and reflect. Okay, close those for now, and I'm just going to hide this also, hide selection. Okay, moving on. Now we're going to add texture to those frames that sit just upside the bed. Okay, so I've selected them, just hit Alt-Q to enter isolation mode, and we're going to use another wood material texture to it. Just open the material editor, select another empty slot, switch from standard to gray material, and assign the material to selection. Under diffuse color, we're going to add a wood texture. Just click on the square in diffuse and then go to bitmap. From here we're going to use wood fine. Just hit open and make sure you check show standard mapping viewport so you can see what's going on. Okay, the only problem here is that I want this material to be rotated, meaning that I want the lines to go vertical and not horizontal. Let's just rotate the map directly from this coordinates rollout. Go under W angle and make sure that it's set to 90. Okay, I think it's good. Yep. Okay, so let's go up to the main material. Let's just call this wood. And let's add some reflections and bump it. First of all, go to Maps Rollout and drag and drop the wood fine from the diffuse to the bump slot. Hit copy. Okay, make sure you activate the background. Okay, now let's go back to the reflect. Give it a small reflection value. Check for IOR. And the reflection glossiness should be about 0.9. Unlock the highlight glossiness and let's give it a little lower value of 0.7 or maybe 0.66. Let's double click on it to see it in large scale. Okay, as you can see, the bump value is too high. Let's just go back to the maps rollout and lower the bump from 30 to about 12 and hit update to see the result. Okay, so I think it looks good. Okay, select those again, click exit isolation mode and right click and hide selection. Okay, moving on. Now let's just give those cylinders a material. As you can see, I've selected them once, it's only one big object. Hit Alt-Q to enter isolation mode. Okay, now let's select another empty slot and let's call this material chrome. Change it from a standard material to a vary material. Assign the material to selection. Now we're going to leave the diffuse color to a gray and just make the reflection about 70% white. Activate the background. Okay, so let's just change the reflection glossiness from 9 to 0.95 and hit Fresnel reflections. Unlock the Fresnel IOR and change the Fresnel IOR to 10. Okay, now what I want to do is I just want to maybe make the diffuse color a little more black. Okay, so this is pretty much it. Hit exit isolation mode, and we're going to use the same material for those parts also. Okay, so I think we have prepared the spots. Select both those objects and right-click hide selection. Okay, moving on. Now what I want to do, let's just take care of this part. As you can see, this is made from two objects actually. Okay, the upper part was used for Boolean, and what I want to do, I just want to add that part to the entire object. Now as you can see, we have an edit poly here. Just go a little lower and hit attach and click on it. Okay, so now it's part of the object. Now the thing is that the frame of this will be wood, but the doors will be just pure white, will be plastic. And do that. Open the material editor, and we're going to use the wood material that we've already created to just drag and drop it to this. Now, as you can see, the mapping coordinates doesn't really function well. We're just going to add a UVV map to it and set it to box. First thing, we're going to align to a bitmap fit. Use wood file again and hit open. I'll go under UVV mapping rollout and scale it down. Okay, let's check if everything functions well. I think it pretty much does. Okay, maybe I'll make it a little lower and just collapse it. Right click, convert to editable poly. Okay, next thing that I'm going to do, I want to just enter isolation mode for now. I want to select all the frame, and I just want to select everything but the frame, but it will be easier to just select the frame. Go to front view, press F3 on your keyboard, and on editable poly, go to polygon subselection. I'm going to select just the frame. Go to perspective and make sure that everything is selected correctly. Okay, so we haven't selected the inner part. Go again to frame. Just select all those parts. Go to perspective again. Okay, so we've selected this, but you need to select everything that's inside. Go to edit and hit select invert. Okay, with this selection, open the material editor, create another vary material on an empty slot, and assign material to this selection. At this point, we can exit the sub-selection from the edit poly, and we're just going to take care of this material, this white material. Remember, this should be plastic. Just make diffuse color to white. Okay. Make it a little bit reflective, maybe a 30%, 40 maybe, okay. Make sure the background is active. Always when you're using reflect or refract, make sure you have the background active. Okay, check the Fresnel reflections, unlock it, and set the Fresnel IOR to 4. under reflection glossiness, change the value of 1 to 0.9. And I think it's pretty much good. Okay, let's just exit isolation mode. This is set up correctly. Just hide selection. Or I'm just going to undo this. Just hide it. Okay, moving on. We're going to add the same. Okay, moving on. Now we're going to add texture to all those furniture. Just select them all. Select those two. Maybe this one too. Okay, and the bed also. And hit Alt-Q to enter isolation mode. Okay, now we're going to open the material editor and just assign the wood material to all of them at once. As you can see, the mapping coordinates are not very well fit. Okay, so we're going to use UVV map. We're going to apply UVV map on all the objects at once. As you can see, we have 5 objects selected. Just from the modifier list, select UVV map. Set it to box. And under alignment, hit bitmap fit and select the wood fine texture and then hit open. Now go under UVV mapping subselection and scale it down. Okay, we have something like this. Okay, I'm going to exit the UVV map subselection and we're going to arrange them one by one. Just select those 2 pieces of furniture at once. First, we're going to make them unique, because the UVV map we've placed on all the objects is now an instance modifier, but we're going to have to work differently on those 2 parts than the rest of the parts. Just hit Make Unique. When the Make Unique dialog box appears, hit No. Okay, now we can go under UVV mapping subselection, and we're going to rotate it 90 degrees on the Z-axis. I want those lines to come like this and not the other way around. And now I'm going to rotate it under Y-axis also 90 degrees. Okay, let's check them closely. Okay, so I think it's good for those 2 objects. Now let's take a closer look to the bed. Okay, the only thing I want to do is just make unique, go on the UVV mapping subselection, and rotate it under X axis 90 degrees. Okay, I want those to run correctly on all the parts. Okay, I think it's good. Now let's take a closer look at this object. Let's do the same thing, just make it unique. Go on the UVV mapping subselection and rotate it under Y-axis, like this. Okay, so I think it's pretty much good. Now I'm going to select all the objects at once and hit Exit Isolation mode. Now with the object selected, just right click and hide selection. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to add a white material to this object and this one, the same material that I've previously used for the furniture. Just assign material to selection, right click, hide selection. Okay, so we narrow down our selection. We're going to give this object a mirror material. For that, just select another empty slot on the material editor, convert it from a standard to a V-Ray material, assign the material to selection. Now the diffuse color is not important at all, because we're going to use a maximum reflection amount. Just take the slider from whiteness and give it a 100% white. This will be a mirror. Just right click and hide selection. Okay, now I'm going to add a texture to this object. This is a painting. Just select another empty slot and transform it from standard to a V-Ray material. Assign the material to selection, and we're going to load a bitmap on the diffuse channel. Bitmap, and we're going to use this abstract temporary collapse image. Hit open. Hit show standard map in viewport, And what I want to do is I want to have the exact result, the exact ratio of the image. For that I'm going to add a UVV mapping to it. Go to bitmap fit and select the image again. Now, as you can see, there's a problem with the fitting, and that's because we use the alignment on Z-axis. Let's use it on Y-axis, and again use the bitmap fit tool. Okay, now go on the UVV mapping sub-selection and just move it a little on the X-axis. Okay, something like this. I think it looks good for now. Right-click, hide selection. We're going to do the same thing for all those images, but we're going to do this at once. So, I'm just going to convert the first painting, let's just select the middle painting, and convert it to an editable poly. And I'm going to attach to it the left and right painting. I want to make sure that they belong to the same editable group before I do this. Select another empty slot. Convert the standard material to a V-Ray material and assign the material to selection. Now we're going to load on the diffuse map the bitmap. We're going to use this bitmap called 373251 and hit open. First thing, show standard mapping viewport and add a UVV map modifier. Now it's the same problem here, just switch it from Z-axis to Y-axis and hit bitmap fit. Use the same image and hit open. As you can see, there's a problem with the scale of this image. So just go under UVV mapping and scale it up. There is just one big image. Something like this. And just maybe move it around on the XY axis. Exit the UVV mapping sub-selection and right-click and hide selection. Now we narrow down our selection to these objects. Let's just start with the lamp. The lamp is made from two parts, this part and the lower part. The upper part should be a transparent material so the light will pass through it. Let's just select another empty slot, make it a V-Ray material, and assign the material to selection. I'm going to use the same red color, make it a little black. Okay, and just go under the refraction tab and hit the first 50% refraction. Hit OK, and make sure that affect shadows is checked. This is very important. Activate the background and go under the refraction tab, change the IOR from 1.6 to 1.1, so there's little or no distortion. Okay, assign the same material to the other lamp. Okay, now the lower parts of the lamp, all those parts, there are 4 parts in total, we'll use the chrome material. Just assign this. Okay, now select all the lamps, all the components of the lamps, right-click, hide selection. Okay, moving on. We're going to do the mattress. I've selected it, hit Alt-Q to enter isolation mode. Okay. Now, let's select another empty slot, convert it from standard to V-Ray material, and assign this material to selection. I'm just going to make this a white color. Okay, so when it comes to cloth finishings, we need to add a small reflection amount. Just activate the background to see what's going on and give it a very low reflection glossiness of 0.5. As you can see, now it looks a little too shiny. That's because we don't use a Fresnel reflection. So let's just activate the Fresnel reflection. If I double click on it, you will see that now it looks much better than without reflection. Okay, Just exit isolation mode and right click and hide selection. We're going to do the same thing for the curtains. Just select them both at once, select another empty slot, convert the material from standard to a V-Ray material, and assign this material to the selection. We're going to make those white again. Just make sure that the white is not pure 100% white, and hit OK. Now go under Refraction tab and give it almost 70%, 75% whiteness. I had to make sure that this is very refractive, but I don't want to see any distortion in the diffraction. That means I have to lower the IOR to a very low value. That means 1.01. That means that almost no distortion in the refraction will take place. Okay, we're going to do the same trick with the reflection. Just give it a small reflection value and a very low reflection glossiness, 0.5. And check the reflection glossiness. Now, at this point it's very important to remember to activate effect shadows, otherwise the light won't pass through it, and it's very important the light passes through the curtains. Okay, now just right click and hide selection. Now we only have left those parts. This will be a little complicated to texture, but do not worry about it. Okay, we're going to begin with this part. I've selected it, hit Alt-Q on the keyboard to enter isolation mode. From the material editor, just select another empty slot, V-Ray material, and assign material to selection. Now I want to give it a stripe look. To make it stripe, I'm just going to load under the diffuse panel the tiles map. Just double click on tiles and show standard mapping viewport. Now the good thing is that the mapping is already correct, so otherwise the mapping would take a lot of time to do. Okay, let's just go under Advanced Controls and hit the vertical count to 0, not vertical, the horizontal count to 0. As you can see now we only have horizontal stripes. Now the horizontal gap should be larger. Let's just give it a value of 4 and change the vertical count to 8. Maybe even more, maybe 12. And make the horizontal gap, either way, just lower the value until they look well proportioned. Now let's just give it a vertical count of 20. Just lower the horizontal gap. Okay, so I think it looks good at this point. Now let's just change the color, the tile color and the grout color. The tile color should be white. And the grout texture, let's just give it a red color, dark red. Hit OK. Let's just exit isolation mode. Okay, I think it looks good. Let's just desaturate the red a little bit. Okay, now let's go back to the main material and do the same thing that we did for the curtains with the reflection. Just give it a small reflect. Okay, make it Fresnel. And the reflection glossiness, set it to 0.5. We're going to use the same color, this red color that we used here, we're going to use for the pillows. We'll just right click on the color swatch and hit copy. Okay, now go ahead and select another empty slot from the material editor. Convert the material from standard to a V-Ray material and just paste the color on the diffuse swatch. Let's just drag and drop this on the pillows. Okay, and give it a little reflect. Okay, now this part, For this part we're just going to use a white color. Select again another empty slot, make it a VRI material, and just assign the material to selection, give it a white color, and make the reflection a little visible. Okay, so I think at this point we have all the materials set. Let's just right click and unhide all. Let's take a look. Okay, I think we're good. And we're going to make a render test, see how everything works. Okay, so I only see the wall at this point. Just zoom in a little bit. And again, render it. I still see the wall. Now the water seems to have some problems. I'm just going to take care of that in a sec. Otherwise I think everything looks pretty much good. Okay, now let's just focus on the water. The problem is that max depth color. When the reflection and or refraction are finished bouncing, it will return a black color. Let's just open the material editor and find the water material. Here, as you can see, the fall color is all this blue color from the sides. Now let's just copy this fall color and just paste it on the exit color and render again. That's not a problem.